people of the World Wide Web. So this is Chris from Cypher Sigma Screen Time, and this is, yes, a new movie review for the weekend. We already know what it is, so it's How to Make a Killing. Yes, this is the new movie from Glen Powell. Obviously, you may remember him from Twisters, from Maverick, Top Gun, and a few other movies that have come out. This is his new movie from director John Patton Ford, who has the only one I've seen. He's only done 3 films. This is his 3rd one. The second one was Emily the Killer, which I think is on Netflix. Audrey Plaza or whatever, Plaza or something. It was her. I didn't think much of that. But yes, this is the new one starring Glen Powell as Beckett Redfellow. You have Margaret Quarrell as Julia, Jessica Henrich as Ruth, Ed Harris as Whitelaw Redfellow, and then you have a load of other smaller characters, including Topher Grace as Stephen Redfellow. And essentially what you have it is Glen Powell is the kind of biological child of one of the kids of the Redfellows. He is cast out because, or his mum's cast out because obviously she had sex with a musician. Obviously, the granddad who runs the mansion and his multi-billion-dollar company or whatever basically said that they need, that's if she's pregnant, has the kid, that she has to basically be cut off. She's cut off. She grows up, teaches him that he's part of something, and obviously he is 7th in line. She unfortunately dies at a young age, and he grows up to kind of be an average Joe, so to speak, until he bumps along to his kind of childhood love interest, Julia. And then basically, due to a set of events, starts killing off his family to get the money. That's it. Nothing really after the credits or anything, so you can get up and go, so that's fine. So we'll put the spoiler warning up and we shall get into it. So yes, so this starts, as I've said, you have the youngest daughter of Mary, basically Mary Redfellow. She is one of the not nice members of that, I say, falls in or gets kind of enticed by a guy. They have sex, she gets pregnant. Basically, she gets cast out of her family. When they go to have the kid, the dad passes out and dies, has a heart attack. His mum's left to raise him. She raises him in a very poor part of the town. As they're growing up, she unfortunately gets ill when she dies, and he's left to kind of fend on his own through foster homes or something. Then we take him as an adult. He's working at this kind of tailoring place, and he bumps into Julia, his like love interest from when he was a child, when his mum was trying to kind of indoctrinate him into the posh stuff, trying to teach him a lot of the posh skills that these kids have in piano classes and stuff like this. And you can see he kind of goes to ask her out, but she's obviously got an engagement ring on, and she walks out and you can see her talking to this bloke and saying, "Oh, do you remember like Beckett from school and stuff like that?" And you hear him kind of slag him off, or her husband, future husband, slag him off. That's like, you don't see much more of Ruth. This then kind of culminates in him, Beckett kind of having the head of the company that he works for, the owner's son wants to take his job, and he kind of gets moved, and he kind of decides that he's going to do something about it, that he's like the 7th heir. So first off, he goes and tracks Taylor. He's a kind of a party kid that he bumps into, takes him to this like island. He goes partying on a boat. Beckett goes out, ties an anchor to it. As he's considering of it, he drops the anchor, which pulls Taylor in, and he dies. Turns up at the funeral. This is where he meets Taylor's dad, Warren. And then Warren, he basically explains who he is, and he's like, "Oh, like I'm your like nephew and stuff like this." And he's like, "Oh, that's really good." Gives him a job and starts working more on the high side of thing, and they have a bit of a bond through this. But he still then goes on kind of a rampage to kill people. So he goes to the next one. He's got Noah, who's the artist. While trying to kill him, he then falls in love with his girlfriend Ruth, and obviously then they start their own kind of relationship together. He's still going on kind of a killing spree. Up until the point it comes to Warren. Warren unfortunately has a heart attack and then passes. And during that, he says basically, just be comfortable. You found somebody you love. You want to stay who you with and all that stuff. But unfortunately, he's not happy enough. He's When all these deaths are done, the granddad is the only one left alive, played by Ed Harris. He invites him to his house, basically offers him to kind of kill him because he knows what he's been doing. Then he tries to kill him in self-defense. He manages to kill the dad and then becomes kind of the owner of the fortune of all of this money. He then gets arrested because he was basically set up to have killed Julia's fiance, because just before this happens, she basically knew something going on. Keeps popping in the scene in the movie only once or twice, but basically has someone tracking him and takes pictures of him, and basically she wants a load of money because her husband spent all theirs. Unfortunately, in between this, she's basically set him up for murder, and then he's basically going to be given a death penalty. The whole film revolves around him being in jail, talking about this to a priest. He's like, oh yeah, it's almost time, I'm going to get reprieved, and it doesn't like he's going to be reprieved. The priest says he's won, and then obviously just as he's about to go in, they go, oh no, you have been reprieved, basically. Julia comes in, because she was at the court case giving witnesses, saying that obviously he was involved in all that stuff, and basically says, if you sign up your fortune over to me, then I will let you go. She does do that. He gets out. Ruth's there, hands it back his locket of his mum's hair, and then basically he gets in a car with Julia, and they're kind of now the new rich people. So what did I think of this movie? I rated this movie 5.4 out of 10. It's only an hour and 45 minutes long. It was enjoyable to a point, but it's a remake of an old story, and I've never seen the old story, so apologies there. It's just the whole how easiness he slips into killing it and how he seems to get away with it and all this stuff is a bit far-fetched in places, and the fact he keeps turning up and interacting, people would end up noticing. The fact after the first killing, he kind of sets himself on a good journey that I don't know why he would do it, because he is even the talk of nepotism, that basically he will work his way up. He will kind of get more or less on the fortune. He kind of when he falls in love with Julia, I think, Ruth, I think him and Ruth have a really good relationship, but then he kind of has a spark, and then she's not really in it that much, and it's kind of flat. And even when she doesn't stick with him in the end, it was like, a bit poor, but she gives him a locket and stuff like this. But obviously it's because of lies. So I kind of get that. Julia, I just hate the character. It's just, oh yeah, she's a kind of love interest, and then she pops in like 3 or 4 times, and there's even like, she's one of the witnesses at him going down saying he killed her husband, but she has the death note that he committed suicide. But then she goes to visit him in jail and stuff like this, and announces all this over like their communication system. It's like, well, these are all recorded and stuff like this. And would somebody be looking, go, well, hang on, you killed her husband, but then she's turned up all smiley and all this stuff and all, with you. It doesn't kind of mold that well. Plus, when you get to it, he has 7 people to kill. Once he's killed 6 people, or 5, and the one he really cared about her, and he says, love him. Literally, the last person left is the granddad. Now, taking account, Glenn Powell's character is 30. The granddad's Ed Harris. He's got to be in his 80s. I was like, literally, it's him and you. Why would you even go to that house? Just keep out of his way for another 10, 15 years. He will die. You inherit the fortune. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to add more. And this is the thing. I was like, at no point did he like, oh, no. He's like, oh, I'm going to go to the house. I'm going to try and kill it. Stuff. All of this is like, maybe there was a reason because he was annoyed with his mum and all this stuff. But he never says any of that to it. He never says anything. And it was just like, what is going on? And that's why I was like, it was enjoyable to a degree. I liked the prison sentence and maybe there. I would have taken the Julia character out of it or made that a bit clever and stuff. But it just, it felt like, it was clever a little bit, and it was like how we did it and stuff like this, and the police are guessing, and he was a little bit clever, but it was just so little bits of this and little bits of that. It just didn't quite mold very well together. As I say, 5.1, it's an enjoyable watch for the most part, but there were so many bits. I was like, this could have been so much better of a movie. But anyway, have you seen How to Make a Killing? Let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comments below. Otherwise, I've been Chris from Sci-Fi Screen Time, and I'll definitely see you in the next one.